office, the white collar jobs. Everyone used to opt for the white collar jobs, but of course right now everyone is looking at having a private business or being what we actually call them. We also call them remote workers in English. And of course I've been joined with Mercy Kansime. She's here in the studio with me. Good morning, Mercy.
Good morning, dear viewer. Welcome to Smart Men's Business. Well, it's always a pleasure to be here. Well, we could say it's the grace of God, yeah, for those that believe. We're making it till the morning. Well, when we talk about the rise of remote work,
yeah,
I must say this all started, we talk about remote work, this all started in COVID-19. The fact that we were in lockdown and not everyone would be able to access office. A few people, individuals, who were called essential workers, were the ones given the liberty to be in office.
Yeah.
So it gave people a chance
to actually think of something else.
To do something else or work from home.
Yeah.
Or you could say work from home. As you work, when we work from home, you have the liberty to do other things.
Yes.
Yeah, you just do your work and
it gives you time with family.
And it gives you time with family. So the in and out of office jobs, the thing these days, because when you look at this generation that we are in, you realize that the unemployment rate is so high. Over 700,000 people are let out into the job market every year. Yes. And of course, 90,000 of them are the ones that can easily access the jobs, the white collar jobs, the in-office jobs. So what about the rest of these kids? Just recently, we had the graduation of Makerere University. Thousands graduated.
Yeah.
And there is only space for a few.
But there is a question we usually ask. Does having a degree guarantee you to have employment or have a job?
Of course it doesn't. With the new system that we have in place, it doesn't. The system we have is who knows you. How connected are you? It's not what you know.
Parents,
yes, who are your parents? And that's the first thing. What is your language? Which language do you speak?
That is very important, yes.
Which language do you speak?
Yes.
So we've found there's a lot of nepotism, there's a lot of tribalism, there's a lot of bribery, corruption. That is the top notch that has led to unemployment in Uganda. So we find now people stranded 2 years down the road, unemployed, but they get these small gigs here and there, and they're able to survive. Some have gone abroad, this brain drain, going for Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and some of them have been mistreated, some of them have
still go back.
Yes, still go back because of the unemployment rate here in Uganda. So, and of course some of them, some kids now are committing suicide, and of course the performance is overrated. I mean, if you don't have Division 1, you're going back to repeat. Excuse me, I will testify, and I didn't get a Division 1.
This is why you're defending.
No. I'm not defending myself. But I am. It's not because I was not intelligent. It's just that because maybe I wasn't prepared.
But I personally believe if your child doesn't get a Division 1, it doesn't guarantee that the child is not picking anything from school. Because personally, I feel if your child is not giving you below 50, that means the child is at least picking something from school, rather than having a child who's getting 90s and is just doing cram work. You're actually asking them a basic question and they actually can't answer anything. So to me, it doesn't make sense for a child to get 90s and at the end of the day, they won't survive out there.
So in short, it's okay to
have a second grade. Parents who are out there wanting to almost choke and kill their children because they got second grades, it is okay to have a second grade. It is okay for your child to bring you a 60 at home, because the more you tell this child, get a 90, I want you to have an 85, this child is going to have the mentality of, I need to have a 90, not I need to learn something from school. That is why at the end of the day, you find that it is more to be more practical than to be theoretical at the end of the day. Because you find that the biggest number of Ugandans who are going for the remote jobs, we have like 130 million Ugandans who are actually earning below 350,000. And you find that around 20 million Ugandans are earning 500,000. And to get above that, you have to be with many connections.
I think it's like the 1 or 2% that below above 1 million,
which is actually worrying because our standard of living each day goes up. People are actually putting up rentals, and these rentals at the end of the day, if you're earning 300,000, you can't stay in these rentals.
Yeah, I have an issue with that. Government is proposing to set up new structures, residential areas, but you can imagine residential areas are going to reach up to 250,000. So can a normal Ugandan, because they're going to set them up in the slums that we know, Wise and all that. So can a normal Ugandan who has been having their home, which you displaced, and put up a residential area for everyone to access, unless we're going to be paying mortgage.
Mortgage.
Unless we're going to be paying mortgage
in Uganda.
How many people can afford a house of 200,000, 250,000, 300?
The smallest percentage in Uganda can actually afford above 500,000 rent. You find that most people, something Ugandans usually don't look at. When you get a house that is affordable for you, let's say 150, they forget to calculate the transportation.
Oh yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're paying 150, but per day you use, let's say, 10,000 transport. When you say at the end of the month, if you're using 10,000, that is around 250,000 or about 300,000 a month. So before you know it, at the end of the year, the money you're making is actually less than what you're using on your transportation. That means you're working for transport.
Well, another thing I think I need to talk about is the fact that these days it's not all about being in the city center. Kampala, the capital of Kampala. I remember growing up, coming to Kampala was a big deal. A huge deal, man. You would have made it in life.
I remember I used to think trees are walking, they're following us where we are going. Because in the bus, you already saw a tree coming.
Yeah, so because
it was always a big deal.
We knew Kampala was the center of everything, business and all that. But I'm telling you, I have friends of mine that would tell you, what, I would kill to go to Gulu and set up a business.
Yes.
Yeah, because there is a lot of congestion in Kampala. The demand, there's a lot of competition. Some people are willing to go to the villages
and start afresh.
Yes, to start afresh.
Kampala, everyone, just like you see in other countries, they usually have the center of their city, and everyone is rushing there because that's where business is. Everyone is coming to buy what they need to go back to the villages and sell. So it is a big deal because who doesn't want to be in Kampala? Who doesn't want to work in Kampala? Who doesn't want to tell their family members, oh my God, my office, let's say, is on Parliamentary Avenue, something like that. But with time, I think the more we grow up, the more it is actually not that important. As long as I am earning money to actually put food on my plate, it doesn't matter where you work. This was a mentality that was put in us when we were still young. Working in Kampala is having it all. So this is also another thing that is also coming back today, where the parents are still believing studying completely the whole day from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening, that is having it all in the future because you've studied and you have good grades. But they're forgetting to tell these pupils, all the students, all their children that they have, you don't have to always have 90s to be successful in life.
Well, I feel like it's a lot of exhaustion, mostly for young kids. You can imagine a child, primary 1 from 6 to 6. That's a lot of exhaustion.
Yeah.
How? I don't know how we survived, trust me, in primary school or maybe secondary. It was really too much and you would feel so tired, fatigued. It
is quite sad that Corona came with the times when we actually left school. Because the number of times we wished for a pandemic like this when we're in school so that you can stay home, not go to school, not wake up early. But then when it happened, I was like, oh, this is something we used to pray for. I was like, maybe God finally was like, you know what, you people always prayed for this. But then it came at a time when we're all not in school. It is our kids who are in school, so wasn't that.
But you see, actually, when you talk about remote work, I think we should educate people on the fact that it's okay. It's okay if you've been transferred to sorority. You can still make a difference.
As long as you go with your family.
Yes, you can still make it, even if you're single.
I would start afresh.
You never know where God may be leading you. It could be leading you to your future. Okay? So definitely, it is okay. You don't have to be in a city to make a difference. You can stay home, do agriculture, do something for yourself. People these days, kids these days, the Gen Z, this is the generation Z. Those ones, they don't want that you work any form of, if you tell him, the kid to sweep, that is child labor, they're going to report you to police. So you as a parent, if you don't know what to do for the child, and the fact that you have busy schedules, you're from work, you're like, I don't want to hear it, just get the phone, play your games.
Yeah, you just make them quiet. And of course, we'll be looking at this a little bit more later on. But right now, we're going to be looking at what is in the newspapers. We'll be having our press review. Yes, of course, we have ourselves here, the New Vision and the Daily Monitor. But of course, here in the Daily Monitor, we have school fees crisis hits parents hard. Of course, this is something everyone is talking about right now because we have the senior 1 students going back, the senior 5 students going back, and the P7, the ones who have entered primary 7, even the other classes. But it's everywhere. Everyone is complaining about the fee structure. So the troubling signs are countrywide low turnout of learners, largely blamed on parents' failure to raise school dues, including additional functional fees and requirements. This is really sad. As a country, I feel they need to work on the school fee structure. The government needs to come out and say the maximum you can charge. They need to put a standard fee because now this is getting out of hand.
The fact that they cannot do that. Okay, it may find it a little bit difficult because someone has invested billions in the school. How is he going to compensate? How is he going to have return on investment if he doesn't?
If you invested 150 billion in your business, which is the school, we no longer call them schools because now they're businesses. If you've invested 150 billion, you're not going to make that money back in one term. You have to give yourself time. You say, I've invested 150 billion. Each time that the students come, let me get back 10 million.
Remember, the bank is on your case.
Why go to the bank if you cannot actually afford? If you cannot afford to construct a school, leave it alone. Don't get a loan to whatever, to put parents on pressure.
The parents, we have parents around here, so definitely. Sometimes I don't understand Uganda, but Minister Otafiire demands 75 billion compensation. And of course, the president ordered probe on true ownership of Njeru stock farm. So if you want information on the scandal that is happening in here, it's on page 7 of the New Vision. I want to read why he wants 75 billion. What is it for? People are struggling with school fees. Someone wants a compensation of all this money.
Compensation for what, first of all?
The money he has is enough. And of course, woman MP seats challenged in court. And of course, Museveni hails UPDF for peace in the region.
Of course, here we see the Army Day. President Museveni inspects troops during the Tarasita celebrations in Bugwere district. And of course, he discouraged small-scale sugarcane plantations. Of course, we also see here that state formally takes over Bitature fraud case. The state has formally taken over the criminal proceedings against Bitature and his wife, who are battling fraud charges in connection with the borrowing of $26.4 million.
Those are untouchables, trust me. Those ones are untouchable. There are names you hear and you're like, okay. Even that.
But the government is going to look into the case.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not that they're untouchable.
That is
finally.
No, listen. There's a difference between you, Charlotte, and
this
Bitature.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. The way that they're going to arrest that person is different. It's going to be home arrest, taking tea and porridge. You're going to be in that docket, shoes off. You're going to be in the cold. We are different.
Sometimes they might even refuse to give you
animal farm. Some animals are what? Equal than others.
Yeah.
You have
it
to have that
happens.
in mind.
And of course, we also see here parents lose millions in senior one entry scam. Parents are actually, the fraudsters are asking for an amount ranging from 5 million to 10 million in the name of King's College Budo administration.
But let me tell you, by the way, because now I don't understand people's understanding. Well, I don't know if that's the right statement to say. I don't know if it makes sense. Why? That is why I'm telling you, sometimes you have to differentiate between education and being knowledgeable. A person who
95 and 55, there's a difference.
A person who is intelligent, you can't fall for that, because that is abnormally.
Mercy.
That is abnormal. No, listen. You cannot be at such a 5 million entry.
Mercy.
5 million entry.
Mercy.
Why would you fall for that?
These people, I think they wake up in the morning, or they actually fast for about a month or a year. They go on their knees. Because even a thief, before coming to steal, they pray to that God you pray to give you money. You see, this person can have a lucky day out of nowhere. They find you, you're actually stressed, you're not even thinking about it. When the person calls you, before you even think about it, before you know it, you're actually giving the person the money.
You know why? The desperation of taking their kids to King's College.
Yeah.
You know, they get victims. Yeah, those that are under pressure, and it's been the dream of your kid.
Yeah.
So you would do anything for that. Trust me, the Uganda I know these days, I cannot. I cannot fall for it. When it comes to money, I'm very wide awake. They'll
find you when your one eye is closed like this one day. You'll never know. These fraudsters have their lucky charm. There's a way. No. But of course, the fraudsters are either calling or texting their victims asking for the money. They tell the unsuspecting victims that they have been given placements at a particular school. But this is not only in this particular school that has been mentioned here. There are very many other schools, parents that are having kids that have just finished 7. They're being sent messages. I don't even know how they get these messages. I feel like the telecom companies actually tell them this number is for a parent who has just finished, a child who has just finished P7 or senior 4.
Let me tell you one thing. When my mom, when I was getting enrolled to secondary school, she asked me the choices that I had made. Among the choices that I had made, we had to look through the school that was reasonable for my grades.
That is very important.
For my grades. Because the first 3 schools, I'm very sure I was not really, up to the, grades and all that. So what my mother did, she went herself. That is what I want to tell parents. You go yourself.
You don't wait for a phone call.
Go. Ask for that. If they refuse to give you, it's okay. Then you can confirm they have refused. I face to face. Never chiga say, no kwere.
Hey, no Uganda, masogo mgana gali mungano.
Yes.
So they have to
you
be
go
there.
yourself and ask for a placement. Because even those that they list up, you go and see if your kids list is
your name, the name on the list.
You cannot allow to be scammed. Yes.
Those people just have a lucky day. And of course, increasing gorilla chimpanzee tracking fees. I was selling gorilla tracking permits at $700.
What?
I already have about 50 bookings using this rate. How can someone book a $700 permit and you send them an invoice for $800?
I'm telling you, fraud.
Fraud is everywhere.
There's a lot of fraud.
And you cannot say it's only in Uganda, it's all over the world. And I think it's because of how the money is being scarce in every country and everyone is complaining.
No, it's just that people have a lot to spend. People are desperate. Like, if you've never been in a place where you are financially incapacitated, you can never know the value of money. Some people don't know the value, they don't know what it means to have 10,000 left in your pocket or 1K.
There are some people who will never know that.
Yes, who will never know that.
When you start earning salary, you would know what it feels like. And of course, we see here the government has transferred 650 vocational teachers. And most of the teachers we are seeing, the ministry officials on January 24th met more than 100 of them. So they actually asked to transfer them. And of course, we're being joined by Andrew right now on the streets of Kampala to tell us more what is happening with traffic. Good morning, Andrew.
Thank you, Lord and Mercy, and definitely coming live here at the Access Road roundabout, getting to observe the traffic atmosphere. And when I talk about Access Road, definitely this is one of the routes that experienced a change when it came to the non-alignment movement of the roads that were constructed. This very roundabout had actually quite a number of potholes, but as we speak to date, it seems a bit quite flexible, and even the overall congestion has also reduced. That means mobility and access to the different areas that link up to this area is quite accessible, and this is what we call a sound economic policy leading to economic growth and development. And of course, in particular, looking at the remarks, the areas that are surrounding this particular area. Now, this is one of the routes still that has lots of pedestrians moving to the different places. But anyways, let's get into the atmosphere of the vehicles here, and the observation, it looks all comfortable and free and not really congested. Talking about people from the Mukwano area side coming to probably you're heading to Ginger Road, you're coming in from Chibuli, Kabalagala. Well, this is one of the greatest routes you can actually use this morning, that despite being in the back to school sessions where we anticipate quite a lot of congestion due to a number of students leaving their different homes heading to the schools, well, Access Road is unique of its own. The only challenge that you might encounter might be just into as you proceed towards Ginger Road traffic lights. But, well, my observation here, it's quite not worse, actually. So, talking about people from the 6th Street, 7th Street, 8th Street at the same time, well, it's still quite comfortable for that. Great thanks to the government of Uganda for establishing the infrastructure of this area. It has actually contributed big when it comes to controlling the congestion. Now, let's take a look at people. The 6th Street, 7th Street, 8th Street area. Majority of the people actually are walking, coming in from those areas, coming to town to execute work. You can actually see, and also it links up to people coming in from areas like Namuwongo. I mean, they travel back, and COVID-19 was quite a great teacher to majority of these people when it comes to, I mean, if you can report to work as a lot of money. So this is what we are observing here. And despite all this, it's quite calm. It's quite very calm in terms of traffic. There is not really much. You can see vehicles that are coming in from the 8th Street side, the industrial area still coming in out very free. Yes, these were roads that were put under massive repair before the NAM summit and the G77 plus China to ensure that there is ease of mobility of different people. Talking about mobility of labor, that is what is happening. And this is also contributing to reduction in the congestion levels, like we used to have quite a number of them before. So that is what we are observing strictly. The situation is okay if you're coming in from the areas I mentioned, Kabalagala, or any of the areas that link up to Gaba Road, and you're planning to use this route. I can say it's a thumbs up for you, most especially if you're coming in from still Kabalagala and you're coming to city center, or even if you're leaving, you're coming in from areas like Wandegea and you're planning to head to Kabalagala Kansanga side. Access Road is a good place for you. You are the most favored, you are the most advantaged people, actually. If you're heading towards Gaba Road and you're planning to use Access Road, you're very advantageous. Probably it might be a little challenging for those who are leaving Kansanga Gaba Road side and they're coming towards Access Road, but it's much more easy for those that are leaving this particular side. You're coming in from the Ginger Road, you're coming in from Bugolobi, you're coming in from Nakawan Tinda side, and you have plans to cross over to Gaba Road areas in any of the destinations. This is quite a proper place for you, as we can see. Yes, so the potholes, which were once a big deal, and they caused quite a lots of congestion, it's not the big case right now. At least there is a bit of improvement when it comes to the movement and mobility. And there is also observance of the traffic laws, despite the fact that we don't see any traffic officer in control of the vehicles around this roundabout, which wasn't the case before. So you can see the traffic labor has been deployed to other areas of much more concern as compared to before, when the place was in a sorry state with a crazy congestion, and definitely they had to put traffic officers to be in absolute control of the vehicles. Well, it seems like in just a few minutes, a slight congestion is building up shortly. But the earlier you leave your place and as you're heading to work, the better, because in the next 30 minutes, it will definitely be a little more of, it will get gross. It's starting to get gross, actually. And the reason why we are seeing all this, it's due to the vehicles that are coming in from Portobello Road, joining here, and some are coming in from Yusuf Lule Road, joining still this very road. So the congestion seems to be getting back to starting to pick up slowly by slowly. So the earlier you leave, the better. Well, that brings us to the end of the traffic report this particular time. I've been Andrew Barije, coming live here at the Access Road. Of course, when I came in earlier, the situation was it seemed to be in control. But as we were winding up, the gross congestion is starting to take phase. So the earlier you set off from home, the better, because the next 1 hour will definitely be the worst of its kind. Back to studio to plot 42 Nile Avenue with Masi Katsime and Charlotte.
Thank you so much, Andrew. As you can see, the streets are pretty congested with pedestrians more than cars compared to the times back in the day.
And of course, we were discussing the fact that, probably people do not have enough. So you walk a certain distance and get a cab or a taxi along the way.
But even the taxis are hiking their fees and the prices. Compared to how we used to pay 1,000 at a particular distance, now you tend to pay 2,000. So someone feels like if I walk a certain distance and then I pay the 1,000 that I have. Because if you're earning around 300,000 and you say, let me use 200,000 for transport, that means you're left with 100,000.
But anyway, it is good to exercise. Early morning exercise, walking.
Then you get to office when you're
really
sweating
good.
monthly.
It is good for your health, and we encourage people to walk.
Well, of course, you heard it from Andrew, and of course, he was telling us if you want to get to work early, you have to learn to leave home early, because you see the traffic is there, and of course, the pedestrians are also there. We're going to take a very short break, and of course, we'll be right back with what is happening across the borders of East Africa.